So if you're like me, you probably get a lot of emailing just like this from places you think, where exactly did I end up getting this? 99.9% of the time, well, I don't really care. I end up chucking it in the bin. The other day, however, I don't really know why, I ended up randomly opening this, and the top story for me was, why is everyone suddenly supporting Johnny Depp? Why indeed? Now, later in the day, that subject it came up once again when I sat down and I ate dinner with extended family. See, they had found out that I do YouTube. That's what they call it, doing YouTube. And they were asking me about subjects that I cover. When I brought up Johnny Depp, they brought up everything that they had heard from the media. And you know what? All of that stuff was not only wrong, it was incredibly wrong. So why is everyone suddenly supporting Johnny Depp? Well, the easy answer is that he's innocent, but the other answer, well, let's go and see what these folks have said. So hey there, so today we return to that wonderful, wonderful world of Johnny Depp coverage, and I think that things like this are important because they remind you, who exactly are you talking to? See, in this thing, when we're fighting against cancellation, we have to remind people that are not in the know why this is important, why people are suddenly doing things, why are they talking about Johnny Depp? Now, the first answer that truly resonated with me, well, I'm going to include 3 sentences from it. They didn't just suddenly support him. That's true. It didn't just suddenly transpire. They supported him. It continues already from day one, but the mainstream media was not reporting it. You weren't getting all information from real people, but from the mainstream media. And that is very true. A lot of people, they fell for something there. It's sad, but that's reality. A lot of us, including myself, have been misdirected by so many attempts and fabrications. Now, others reflect the same mentality as well and add a very interesting question. If this has been going on for so long, then why haven't we heard about it in other relationships? You know, because this guy, he is front page press for decades because they should have been supporting him from the start. When that story first came out that Johnny was abusing AH, I didn't believe it. Several female friends became angry with me because they said she was obviously lying, and they told me I was wrong for thinking that. You know, because you're supposed to believe all, which is the most absurd idea ever. But continuing, but it was obvious to me. Abusive behavior presents itself in many ways and manifests in several ways as well. And Johnny Depp has had a long and very public career with good things and bad things being revealed about him, but never had he ever shown any signs or made any actions that point to him being abusive to a partner. Even the women in the past made it clear he was not that kind of man. But we're living in times when it's believe the woman first and maybe ask questions later. I'm glad he's fighting back. I would add to this that this does not have to be a gender-exclusive comment. When we're saying believe all, we hear believe all victims. Well, that assumes that there's a victim in the first place. And that type of mentality, yeah, it confuses empathy with justice. Now, beyond people saying accusation does not equal substantiation, and look at the guy's past, you also have people that are presenting evidence. And well, look at this breakdown here. The reason is simply because it's becoming more and more evident that AH is a serial liar, and that's why I'm rooting for Depp in the slander case. If you're not yet convinced, though, have a gander through these points. The police and other independent witnesses who arrived at the infamous scene have stated that there are no bruises on AH's face when it arrived. A doctor, too, has confirmed that the type of bruise she supposedly sustained would have shown up quickly after impact. From photos, we've observed that AH's bruises were purple one day and gone the next. Not only that, but they moved from the optical orbit to underneath the cheekbone, which isn't physically possible. Science, baby, science. No matter how many times she claims that she was in it for quote-unquote justice or to set some kind of good example, it's been proven that this is a front. She had her lawyers draw up what amounts to a letter of blackmail to Depp, making an extensive list of demands, stating emphatically that she would only go public if he didn't meet them. Now, what's interesting is they include a portion of the document that you're talking about, but the entire thing, it reads so much worse. AH wishes to work quickly towards a private resolution of all matters, but she will need Johnny's immediate cooperation to do so. To this end, please have Johnny promptly sign and return by Friday, May 27, 2016, the enclosed, and you see all the documents. If the request notice is not signed in the original executed form, not returned to me by May 27th, we will have no alternative but to arrange for Johnny to be personally served. They mention later on, in a part that's not included here, that Johnny Depp was going to be served at a premiere, and they were going to bring all of these accusations out into the limelight, which they do. He goes in, he files something. They don't like his response, so they go forward with a DVRO, and that's when they pop up with all that quote-unquote evidence that disappears within one day. Now, their demands were that they wanted $10,000 a month in support, even though they were working at the time. They wanted exclusive use and possession of the black Range Rover, the vehicle she is currently driving, with Johnny to continue to make all payments for any encumbrances upon the exclusive use and possession of 3 penthouses. He wanted to pay everything for that, a contribution towards a reasonable and necessary attorney fees in the amount of $100,000 and $25,000 for forensic accounting, and so on. Then they continue. It's publicly known that AH is a very heavy spender and had racked up debts. May I also note that a yoga instructor AH was or is very friendly with lives in close proximity to one of the penthouses. The infamous video that shows Depp at his worst, they're talking about the TMZ video, heavily edited. That is very true. We found that out very recently. And even by itself, it isn't actually damning. He shows a drunk man being goaded by a woman who sounds playful and teasing, not scared, which isn't behavior typical of someone who is being abused. Usually in the face of their abuser lashing out, abused victims become frightened, not confidently calm. And not only that, but you see Johnny Depp, this was edited out. He wants to leave. AH basically laughs at him because of it. Yeah, says plenty. For the new case, Depp has lots of CCTV and witnesses to back him. One day after her so-called brutal beatings, she is seen on CCTV getting quite snug with James Franco in a lift at the complex where, I guess they're saying, Depp resides. She claimed that this was a chance encounter, but the CCTV shows her going to the top floor where, again, he resides, and it's the only apartment at that level. There's absolutely no signs of any injuries. In the original case, she dodged multiple depositions. I remember that 2 of these were down to attending a party and a dress fitting in London. Sounds like someone really passionate about getting justice right. Not only that, but we know the dress fitting excuse was a lie because she was spotted in LA. To boot, it was said in the case files that AH threw the mother of all fits when she was being persuaded to attend the deposition. AH was publicly witnessed and arrested for being physically aggressive with a former girlfriend in 2009. She claimed that the arresting officer was a lying phobe. Said police officer was an open lesbian. In the counter case, it's been said AH herself has admitted to being violent, antagonistic toward Depp. She cut part of his finger off, hit him, and in an argument she bizarrely and disgustingly defecated his bed. On the flip side, none of Depp's former partners have a bad word to say about him. Let's not forget the cigarette and cheek thing either. I mean, that's one to always include in this stuff. You can see all of the evidence that gets attached to this stuff too. Here's one particular incident where Depp was in a bathroom and AH, in the fashion of a bunny boiler, was madly trying to force her way in. Eventually, he opened the door and she swung it into him intentionally. It also mentions another incident where she punched him in the jaw. I'm sure you've heard about this stuff, but if you haven't, you should definitely look this up too. If you're new to this case, I mean, this is the type of insanity you're looking at. You can see it laid out here too. Female voice. This is on an audio tape. I've put this up myself too. There are hours of footage like this. I meant to hit you, and I did did not do this thing with the door. I do remember I meant to hit you. So, trying to hit you. But punch me in the jaw, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. So, you have admissions of that kind of stuff. How would that fly in the media, by the way, if it were Johnny Depp admitting it? The interesting thing about this is that she was caught out red-handed. Before the evidence was played, she claimed that she was on the inside trying to protect herself and that he was trying to bust his way in. The audio makes it 100% clear that this is not true. Essentially, she played the victim until it was revealed. So here we have 3 documented incidents of her hitting him, and yet in the 2016 case, she swore blind that she'd only ever hit him once in defense of her sister. That's talking about the staircase incident, by the way. AH's stylist at the time of the original supposed abuse, someone who saw her face bare and up close, has testified that she had never saw any bruises or marks whatsoever. In the original case, AH also claimed that her friend Rocky was witness to one abusive event. So, you see this laid out here, though, but Rocky herself, she says, yeah, I never witnessed any of this stuff. And that's been redacted as you go forward. But hey, you need to forget that, too. Remember how I mentioned she swore only having to hit him once to defend her sister? Funnily enough, both scenes she fabricated play out the same way. Depp goes wild, loved ones arrive and jump in between them, a la cheesy film, and then Depp goes for them. H is clearly a very dodgy person. She lies as easily as breathing, shows no remorse, and apparently has a very fragile ego. When confronted on Twitter by one person, she not only blocked them, but also stalked and blocked their completely separate Instagram profile, despite no interaction on there. Far beyond that, though, she blocked a fan for saying they didn't like her wig in Aquaman. There are many things wrong about this woman, but that's why support for Johnny Depp is increasing. They also say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? I think these pictures from 2015 versus 2019 certainly do. So yeah, there's you a tiny intro. If you're interested in that or wanting to share it with people, I think this is a good way to do so and showcase all of the audio, all of the depositions, everything out there versus AH only being backed up by friends who, incidentally, never claim to have ever seen any of these incidents. They have to rely on AH as the sole person that says, yeah, this happened, I know because I was there. But anyway, you tell me what you think about this. I think it's good to see discussions like that. And yeah, thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting. You make these endeavors possible. Also, check out the links in the description if you want to help the channel. We have our comic book. We have everything else there too. Memberships and on. There's also exclusive material for those. But yeah, you being here, that helps out the channel and it's very much appreciated. I want to end on that saying thank you. Appreciate you. We'll see you again soon.